Welcome to the 2025 Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard, at Bay Hill Club and Lodge in Orlando, Florida. As one of the greatest and most influential golfers of all time, it's only right that the event honors Palmer's memory and legacy, and supports the Arnold and Winnie Palmer Foundation. Before we get to the course and the gear this week, we took a tour through Arnie's Army Legacy Experience, which is located near the 18th tee box at Bay Hill, should you be interested in attending the event for yourself while on site. Since we were already out on the course, we also had to tour the closing 3 holes, which are personally some of my favorite closing 3 holes in all of golf. 16 is a short par 5 that lends itself to birdies and eagles, but an accurate approach shot is necessary to avoid the water that looms close. The 17th hole, a long par 3, looks a whole lot different than it has in previous years. Rather than having a beach bunker guarding the right-hand side of the green, there's now a steep slope and an inlet of water. One can only assume the Sunday pin will be tucked back right on the green. A tough hole has only gotten more difficult. For my money, the 18th hole is the toughest closing hole on the PGA Tour. Maybe because in the few times I've played the course, I've sent the golf ball swimming on my approach shot and made double bogey. But that's not to say it isn't beautiful, because it definitely is. Alright, let's get to the gear, starting with Arnie-inspired custom jobs, including this Cobra driver, these Arnold Palmer Puma shoes, and Max Homa's simply incredible Cobra golf bag. Arnold Palmer was a true showman on the golf course, and we had front row seats to another showman on the range. His name is Coach Rusty, and he can do some truly incredible things with a golf ball and a cement square.
My trick shot setup, old LTD LS. It's pretty beat up, but I mean, durable. Move home, live in your mom's basement, and practice with foam balls for a couple years, and you'll get a job doing it.
That's perfect.
That's it. That's what worked for me.
Yeah.
Trying to get that riser strong young bull I once was. Coach Rusty. Coach Rusty on Instagram. But the last time I did trick shots was here last year. Literally.
No kidding?
Yeah. Crazy.
Then we got another show, where Aldrich Potgeider showed off how to hit a Palmer-esque driver off the deck. What a stud. In other news, Rory McIlroy changed a whole bunch of clubs in his bag this week. He's now in a new TaylorMade QI35 driver. A new QI35 3-wood. And 5-wood. An old P770 Proto 3-iron, and a 48-degree wedge, which is 1.5 degrees weaker than his previous version. We asked McIlroy about all the changes during his press conference on Wednesday, and he answered thoughtfully as always.
Yeah, I think it's all really come from the ball change a few weeks ago. So, because this ball, especially with the shorter irons, spins a little bit more, especially with the sort of 3/4 shots. I feel a little more comfortable playing those. So I actually weakened my pitching wedge by 1.5 degrees to sort of bridge the gap between, having a 46.5 and a 54. So that's now 48 degree, then 54/60. I just feel like with the ball, I'm a lot more comfortable playing those sort of 1/2 and 3/4 shots. So comfortable going back to 3 wedges. And then, I sort of had to look at the top end of the bag then of how I was going to configure it. And for a while, I've been looking for a club that sort of carries 300 in the air. I feel like there's a lot of golf courses we go to that really pinch in at like 310, 320. And I'd hit a 3-wood, or I can't hit driver because it's just too narrow. But then I'd hit my 3-wood that's going like 285, 290. But guys that are shorter than me are hitting driver, sort of 300 or 310. So I feel like I was at a disadvantage in some ways, even to like people that hit it shorter than me, depending on the course setup. So I messed around with the mini driver last year, but I just couldn't quite get comfortable with it. So I've sort of been playing around with like stronger 3-woods. So this 3-wood that I have carries like 300, 305 in the air, which is a really good club for me to have. And then I've went from a 5-wood to a 4-wood, and that 4-wood sort of bridges that gap. And then I've got the 3-iron that sort of replaces the 5-wood. So I've got a club that sort of flies 260, a club that flies 280, a club that flies 300, and then the driver. So that was sort of the reasoning behind them, and it just sort of gives me more options off the tee. Especially with being so comfortable at the other end of the bag with the wedges and hitting those 3/4 shots, it's nice to have those options up at the top end of the bag.
World number 1 Scottie Scheffler was also testing out new TaylorMade QI35 drivers this week. He spent about 30 minutes going back and forth between his QI10 gamer and different QI35 heads that TaylorMade rep Adrian Rietveld built up for him to test. Ultimately, Scottie walked away with a QI35 build that he felt comfortable with, but it remains to be seen exactly when it'll make the starting lineup. In more TaylorMade news, the company unveiled the never-before-seen Spider 5K ZT putter. The ZT stands for Zero Torque, which means TaylorMade might be throwing its hat into the torque-free rings sometime soon. Jason Day was an early tester of the new putter on Monday. On Tuesday, we caught up with Day to talk about testing the ZT putter. We also talked about his new QI35 driver.
I have a TaylorMade QI35 in there right now, so it tested pretty decent, right? I mean, I hate test. I don't really like testing a lot of clubs.
That's a lot.
I want to be able to, like, if I hit it and it doesn't come off correct in the first 1 to 2 swings, it's that shaft and that combo's out straight away.
Yeah,
it has to, like, I have to swing it and feel like I'm not manipulating it a ton, so that when I go in there and hit it, I'm like, okay, that's coming out on that flight, and I like that, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
If I miss it and I've hit a good, and I feel like I put a good swing on it, and it's like kind of a slight miss, and I'm like, I won't trust the combination, whether it's a driver and shaft, or iron and shaft, whatever. I was using the ping for a while. I do like the ping. I feel like the ping is very, very stable. This feels hotter than the ping, and I feel that if the ping, granted, they did give me 2 ping, I think it's 440s now. So, and the combination wasn't right. So I probably should have tried a different shaft, but that TaylorMade driver right now, and I don't have the speed that I used to, but like I was on the range cruising at 175 on a Monday, which was quite nice. Mm-hmm. So once you start getting some adrenaline going, you're under the pump, you start cruising that 77, hopefully popping it to 80, and the spin was right, which was good. So yeah, I think the ping was good, but I started getting a few more misses, and then I just lost a little bit of trust in it. I did change shaft from a TBT to I think it's Diamana with the flowers on it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just don't know if that was the right combo for me. But I mean, yeah, the ping stability from toe to heel, the off-center hits, amazing, feels unbelievable. And that 430. And then this one, I've only played it a couple of days, so currently I've hit it pretty decent. I'll hit a toe. I tend to toe miss it more than heel miss it on woods. And with my irons, I usually heel miss it, which is kind of a weird combination. But that right now is pretty good, so we'll see how it goes. So I need a little bit of bias. I can't have it spinning. You know how they have you can have it in your hands and spin the shaft, and it just doesn't fall. It can fall anywhere it wants to. I need a little toe hang, I would think. I need some sort of bias so I can actually feel the club in my hands. And I think that's what they're building me right now. Just because I feel like there's no feeling. You know what I mean? I can't. And I would say I tested it on the Sam Putt Lab. Granted, my putter's at E1, and that putter there they had to take 11 grams, well, they really need to take 15 grams of weight out of it to match my spider putter. And it was also, they took 11 out as much as they could. So they're going to bore the head a little bit, try and get it down to E1 so it matches my spider putter. Because on the Sam Putt Lab, the 2, actually, I had more of a left bias swing path on the spider putter, and the ZT was a lot more consistent back and forth. I aimed it better too, a massive difference. Yeah. The only thing is that because it was a little heavier, it was the same face, same insert, because it was a little heavier, it just popped off a little bit different. And I think it gave it a little bit more energy. So the speed control, like, it felt like it just gave it more energy behind the ball, behind the putt, and I kept on hitting everything long. But on breaking putts, left to right, right to left, it tested way better than my spider. I'm never going to say never to anything, because you could always eat your words and change one day and you're using it. So right now, I love the way it looks. I've always liked center shafted putters. For many years now, I've been saying to TaylorMade, I said, look, you guys need to make a putter that's, when you put it on the ground, on the surface, it doesn't twist. Yeah. And like they explained, like now the bottom is completely different to any other spider, that you can actually kind of sit, like, it's all like those old training, it's not a training aid. It's just like a kind of gimmicky putter where you put it on the ground, you can walk it away, and then you know that you're not twisting it. Because you get it on a slick surface, like if we this week at Bay Hill, sometimes they get the grass gets burnt at the end of the week. It gets really brown, and that starts to move around a lot.
Yeah.
But when you have it sitting flat on the ground, where it's just like flush to the ground, there's no chance of it moving. So you just go, okay, straight in, and then you'll be manipulating, you'll be moving, and you're like this, and you're looking up, and then sometimes with my red putter, it's like aiming over there or over there, just because it's twisted.
Right.
So it's really good. I mean, these companies are so big. I think once Lab came out and made the putter, I think everyone's following suit now, which is interesting. Everyone follows trends, and I don't blame them, because that's what's hot right now. Is the lab putter's done very, very well. Not only kind of like amongst some certain groups of people out here, but also consumer-wise, I think a lot of people love them. I feel like I'm in the mob right now. I've got my my singlet on. Favorite outfit? I've got some nice ones this week. Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel like I can never. I mean, it's 50-50 on the sweats. I understand that some people like them, some people hate it. So
You had the internet going crazy in both directions.
Yeah, I won't go there. I'm just trying to think what I had. I wore some really good golfy gear at Tory, just because, and that's the biggest thing, is we're always trying to. I'm a little bit bipolar when it comes to my outfits, and I like that, because while we're trying to build a brand in Melbourne and like showcase what they've got, not only through traditional golf gear and streetwear, it's nice to not look like everyone else. Like today, I don't look like anyone else, which is nice. So it's kind of, I put this together, and a lot of the outfits that I do, they have a scripting team at Melbourne, but I end up kind of just putting my own little flavor on it too, which is good. So you'd have to look this week. This week's got some really nice. So I'm not going to say what's my favorite so far, because I feel like some of them are coming up really soon. Augusta's a little crazy, so
Oh boy.
fingers crossed they can let me wear some of the stuff that they.
All
I
right.
don't think they're going to let me, but well, because we have to send it through now, because I'm on the radar of a lot of tournaments that.
You got to get permission.
I
That's
gotta
crazy.
you got to send through the scripting to make sure it's okay. So, and that's totally fine. I get it. That's, like especially at Augusta, it's all about the tournament. So you just want to respect the rules while trying to, build a brand.
Before the Wednesday Pro-Am and before the Wednesday rains came in, we had the pleasure of watching the legendary Ken Griffey Jr., aka The Kid, take mighty lashes with a QI35 driver. And hit smooth putts with his Scottie Cameron putter. Apparently the kid can putt too. In more legendary news, we also watched as Vince Carter ripped drivers. And we got a look at his ping heavy what's in the bag. We also checked out this Jumbo Max grip made of kangaroo leather. This Super Stroke Voodoo grip and set of purple head covers. These custom Olsen putters made for Hideki Matsuyama. Mackenzie Hughes' old Ping S55 irons. Ludwig Oberg's What's in the Bag. Justin Thomas's wedge that were so fresh they were still wrapped in plastic on Tuesday morning. Jason Gore's current club setup as he played in the Monday Pro-Am. And he was striping it too. And we even checked out Arnie's grandson's What's in the Bag as he played in the Wednesday Pro-Am. In honor of Arnold Palmer, remember, you must play boldly to win, especially at Bay Hill. And with that, unfortunately, we say goodbye to the 2025 Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. We'll see you next time on GolfWRX.com's video series, Inside the Ropes.